Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my round 16 round review, going through who went well and who didn't go so well. Pretty much everyone on field went well except for Cameron, Dunkley and Taranto. Everyone aside from that pretty much went hundreds, which was really amazing to see. And how that really ended up with me going top 1,000 for the round and jumping up, what was it in the end, 720 odd spots, 820 spots I think it was 820 odd spots. And yeah, I ended up with a round score of 2563, which was one of the top of the round, obviously with an 863 round rank. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on. We've had some really good growth in the last little bit, and hopefully we can continue that on, as hopefully I'm able to get to more regular uploading, as I won't be interrupted or have a weird sleep schedule, I guess. That's happened in the last little bit. So now let's get into the video. So as you can see here, 2563, the team value was 21.58 and is now 22. It is 22.23 million, I believe, if I max it out. And I'm ranked now 3120 and pushing on, as I believe I actually closed in on the leaders by almost 100 points, give or take, as I believe there was a changing of the guard with the one of the guys having a better round than most. I think if you look here, I believe these two were flipped, and now they're very close, obviously, but Fleabaggers was on top and I was gaining 100 odd points to him, so I basically gained back 100 points on the leaders, and instead of being almost 1400 down, I'm only around 1300 or so, give or take a little bit, which is a lot better. And I believe I'm only 800 off a hat or so. If we look here, I might be completely off in saying that. If we look at the top 100 here, 100th is 34914, and I'm around 808 points off the top 100, which is really good. So now if I go back to here, now we can look at the actual scores for the round. And I might actually do it this way and go through it by game. I think this will work. So as you can see here, I obviously don't own. Oh, this is going to struggle if I don't show my trades, actually, so I'll just do it the normal way that I usually do it. So this week, starting in the backline, D1, Dawson did his job, 136, absolutely huge, and ended up 22 kicks, 6 handballs, 8 and 8. He just seems to be a machine on non-disposal points at the moment, in this game here, he had 27 plus 48, he had 75, broke even on the free kicks account, so he had 75 non-disposal points. There it looks like, I'm just trying to do the count in my head, 81 plus he had 97, so yeah, 75 makes sense. Here he had 56. The week before that, even though he only had 9 plus 24, 33, he's still accounting for 30% of his score through non-disposal points, which is really good. And yeah, he's just been a dominant force and averaging 116. He is 4th in the comp at the moment. So disappointed that I only got him last week, but I've got him in for a 172 and a 136. Yeah, that's pretty good. I wish I'd got him in a little bit earlier, as he's been so consistent. Doherty, I brought him in this week and he went 113, and he didn't even get the high disposal count that we're used to, only getting 26. And yeah, only 6 marks, which is one of his lows, and could easily get up towards that 8 or 9 mark, and that would get him up towards that 120, which I think he can sustain. He has Freo at Optus, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try and hold the ball up a little bit and try and stop Freo, as Freo seem to want to play a very counter-attacking, a very quick movement game through a lot of handballs. So do Carlton, as well as the fact that I think we're going to see Ollie Hollands back. So I think we actually see Sam Doherty either go back into the backline or more into the midfield. So we could see his tackling numbers spike up again to their 6 or 7 range. And we could see a similar performance to this Sydney game, And hopefully that's what we want, honestly, from him. And hopefully we have high time on ground, because 88 was really high. He was at one point, I think he spent the whole first quarter on, and then at first 10 minutes of the second as well on. So he had like 90-something% time on ground going into the halftime. Nick Dacos 150. He went absolutely nuts. 10 tackles, 7 marks. Just a complete show. Would have liked him to have kicked 3 goals instead of 1 goal too. That would have got him to a 160. But yeah, he's just been really good. And yeah, really complete performance from him. And I believe he takes up that R2, does he? Yes, he does, actually. Now doing that, I don't think anything's changed other than Himmelberg moving into the back line, as I do move some pieces around, etc. And that moving Himmelberg was moving him into the forward line to take Darcy Wilmot's goal, which we'll get onto in a second. Sinclair, last game in the round, wasn't tracking well, but then last quarter had like a 40 or something. I think he had like a 65-point second half to really bump up his score. Got the 101 in the end. I think he ended the game on 99, but then Champion Data added a little bit to get him up to a 101. And yeah, getting another ton was absolutely huge. If I do a quick count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 tons for me, and 90s and 2 90s as well, and 2 80s, a 70 and a 50 was what I ended up with. So yeah, really good output across the board. And just the difference between a guy ending up on like 99 and 101, I don't know what it is with me, but getting and clicking over that ton feels like they've achieved a lot more than just getting a 90. So even though he just got 2 added to his score, it feels like so much more of a complete score. I don't know if that's just a superstition or something that I have in terms of AFL Fantasy, but it just makes it feel so much better that he got over the mark. I think the same can be said about Stewart in his game against the Swans. He really struggled early and then had, I think it was 74, I think it was 237-point quarters to finish off the game, and yeah, ended up 105 and absolutely huge. I think he mungled it late to get something like 30 points or 25 points in the last 10-15 minutes to really push up his score. And against North, GMHBA, smaller stadium, I wouldn't be surprised if he really gets a load of marks and a load of intercepts, as I don't expect him to be playing on Larky. I think they will go another tall, and I do think he'll be sort of a floating defender. But he has them, then he has Essendon, and then he's got Brisbane at the Gabba. That will be a tough game, but I think with just the way Stewart is at the moment, he's so highly owned that it doesn't really matter with him. And then Mullins was the guy that I used, as I wanted to also be able to... I knew with Wilmot there, and I knew Mullen when he wasn't named the sub, that I could do this quickly. I was at a function, so I quickly had to do this at like 6:30, 6:45 or whatever before the game started. I got Mullen into his preferred position and got what I needed out of that on my phone, which was quite hard to see actually, but I got the job done there in getting Mullen on field, as it allowed me to put Ueland in this position here and take Sheldrick's score as well. So I was able to take Wilmot's score, and these two ended up being the combo out of Wardlaw and Sheldrick were the other guys, as well as Windhager, and I was able to get the best score off my bench effectively. And I'm pretty sure I combined, other than Darcy Cameron, if I'd gotten, say, Sheldrick on here and Johnson here, I think that was the best score I could have done aside from captaincy. I could have put Windhager on instead of Josh Dunkley, etc., or Wardlaw on instead of Josh Dunkley, but I left, like everyone, a couple of points out there with some primos failing. But Wilmot 87 helped to get a cash spike, and actually really help with my trades this week, as my trades this week actually will come down to Sheldrick's Thursday night score, basically. But, if Sheldrick doesn't score well, I'm looking at trading out Dunkley. But if he does score well, I'll hold, as it will enable me to get have to worry about one less rookie, as I'll be able to go 2 rookies up to Neil, who should go absolutely nuts. I'll still be getting Neil, but I'll be getting Neil and I think Henry instead of Neil and Williams for 2 rookies. It will be Dunkley and a rookie for Neil and Henry, which I think I can do, as Dunkley is 985k and Neil is like 890k, so the 90k will be able to make up from the likes of Wilmot or something. I might even keep Wilmot and trade out like Wardlaw as Wilmot looked much better than Wardlaw his run for the next little bit. As if we look just here, he's got the Eagles, and to be fair, I probably would still just trade out Wilmot. But we'll wait and see with what happens with Sheldrick tomorrow night. Moving on to the midfields, Merritt, Bont, and Petrarca pretty much did what I want them to do, 114, 116, and 117. Merritt, just did his job. If we look at his match stats here, 16, 15, 6 and 4, that's just the perfect performance. Bont, 16, 11, 6 and 6, another really good performance from him. And then Petrarca did miss four shots, but 17, 17, 5 and 3, and another week at least without Clary. He could be captaincy potential, but I don't think so, and I don't think he has a nice run or a nice captaincy available game until post Clary returning, so I won't look at that. And I believe St Kilda is one of the last games of the round, middle of the round, so I don't really want to target that game, to be honest, as I need to look more in depth. But I don't think from memory that St Kilda are a good team to put a captaincy on. Brayshaw, a little bit disappointing with only a 102, but got the job done. 12, 17, 3 and 7. Would like to see him have another 3 or 4 marks, but it looks like he's more of a tackler than a marker. And I would like to see him with another 3 or 4 kicks, as that will really get that score up. But again, another ton is another score, and with the likes of like Steele and other guys really struggling, we'll have to wait and see with that. So then you got those. Then Tom Green is sort of in the same boat, very handball happy, and that's really something that I think if he can go to, and I think this is very much how Paris sort of played out a little bit a couple of seasons ago, is that they're very handball happy, and that sort of drops off. Even here, if we just look at this, if he's getting out of 38 touches, if he's getting 17 and 21, that's a 115. If here he gets out of 31 touches, he gets, say, 13 kicks, that's a 109 here. And that's even with low handballs, not handballs, marks and tackles. So I think Tom Green could easily be a 115 guy once he gets towards that age 24, 25 season, if he just gets more kicks off and can get more marks like he was getting earlier, as he is a tackle beast and can easily get those 9 or 10 tackle games. And if you take out this like 1 tackle game here, he's looking at a average of close to about a 113, 114. But anyway, really good. And then my saving grace was this tackle masterclass from Brad Crouch here. A 137-17 tackle effort against the Eagles. And I was worried going into this last game, as everyone else had Dawson as captain after the Dunkley and Taranto fail. But in the end, the Eagles just paid out, giving him 17 tackles. I think he had the first quarter 7 tackles or whatever, had 46 whatever, and he just continued on. I mean, he had 18 in the last quarter because he obviously felt bad about the Dawson guys, so he only gave a 1-point lead with this behind. But, he could have easily ended out like a 160, and that would have been huge. But, I mean, I take a 1-point win over those Dawson captainers. Then we have Rosie, who had a 3-goal effort. He had 23 disposals for a 145, which is absolutely ridiculous. 9 marks, 9 tackles is ridiculous as well, and got the handy +1 from a free kick 4. And he's looked really, really good since I basically said, I might trade him out at the bye around this North Melbourne game, as he put up a 79 and had a run of almost a month without a ton. And yeah, he's done really well. Last 5 of 116, last 3 of 119. Absolutely ridiculous. And then Sheldrick's last 3 of 95 and last 5 of 74 or whatever, mostly because of this 8-point game. If you take that 8-point game out, then his last 4 is something ridiculous. I mean, it's 95.3 plus again 79, so we're looking probably around that I believe like a 90 or so range for the last 4, and hopefully with a game against Richmond he gets full reign in the midfield and can go big without Chad Warner there. I also think it does give an opportunity for Callum Mills to get slid slowly more back into that role, and I think he could build towards the end of the season, but I don't see him as a player I want necessarily at the moment, but that could change. I don't think I'll get him this round because I want to look at Sheldrick's score, and I don't know if I can personally do that. Do a kneel and also a Mills, get him in for Wilmer. I don't think that works, but it might just work. We'll have to look and see into that. English 108 did his job basically. 10 disposal effort to get 108 is absolutely huge, and I expect him to come back strong. He's playing Collingwood, which should be an actual good matchup for both ruckman. I think they could be actually feasting on this matchup, as I think English will go 120, but I also think Darcy Cameron will bounce back, as the Bulldogs are a good team to ruck against, and I think Darcy Cameron could easily put up just 100 bomb, honestly, and restructure, get better, and just look like a better forward than he was last week in that game against Wits, where he got totally dominated. Rowan Marshall here, 130. He dominated against Williams. I mean, Williams put up a 120 as well. So those two matchups, even the West Coast Eagles and the Western Bulldogs, seem like the best two matchups to go against. He just 34 hitouts, 26 disposals, 4 and 6. He did give away a couple of free kicks, but that's fine, honestly. And could have easily had a 140 if he'd just picked it up a little bit. Ramsden obviously didn't play, and I'm going to try and use him as a way to get into the forward line sort of emergencies next week, as I bring in hopefully Williams if Sheldrick scores well. Taranto 80, that was quite annoying. Only 21 disposals, 1 and 6, and a behind. He just didn't get involved, simple as that. And I think he'll bounce back now against the Swans. I expect a 120 or something around that marker. He did score a 109. I mean, he probably will get more attention from Rowbottom, but there's not much you can do to stop Tim Taranto. It's going to be himself that stops it. So I expect him to bounce back, to be honest. Josh Dunkley, 72. Again, very disappointing, and is going to miss this week against West Coast, which really sucks because that is the fantasy matchup, especially at the Gabba. But I expect him fully to be back for these two games, as it is against Melbourne and Geelong, and they cannot risk that, as they risk almost falling out of the top 4, to be honest with you, if they lose a couple games here. So I expect him to play those games. Then we have Gordon here, 128, was absolutely huge against Geelong, 26, 6 and 9. He's really actually turned into a heavy tackler, to be honest. For such a small guy, you wouldn't expect it, but to get those tackles, as well as being able to put a lot of scoreboard on. He's kicked 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 13 goals, and 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14 behind. So he's kicked 13 goals, 14, I think I said, in 15 weeks. So that's really good as basically a midfielder or a winger. And I think he could obviously increase that. And it looks like he's really has got involved in the scoring since round 8 or so, picking up and pretty much kicking at least a goal a game, or having 2 score involvements in terms of goals or behinds a game, which is really, really good for his role, especially because he's going to get 60 or so points off kicks pretty much, and another 20, 25 points off of just tackles alone, and then the handballs and the marks sort of add up to 25 or 30 itself, so he gets very quickly a high output. Darcy Cameron sucks, basically, as simple as that, but I think he'll bounce back. Harry Himmelberg started really strong, but then fell away, but I mean, he didn't have the marking capability, and I think Whitfield down back against Hawthorn could go absolutely huge. So I would be saying this guy is the guy to jump on if you wanted to trade out of the likes of Dunkley, but I don't expect many to trade out of Dunkley. What's his ownership now? It's 64, so it's dropped 6% or something, but I don't expect it to drop terribly much more, especially if Sheldrick tomorrow night goes huge. And then Keys was absolutely ridiculous, and he's going to start to shoot up. I got him at, I think, 564k, so I've made almost over 200k, and he has just been ridiculous and has almost a low break even again, even at 770k. And he's got Essendon. We'll see what he does. I mean, has he played Essendon this year? Doesn't look like he has, but he could go ridiculous and score well again. But a 130 bomb from him was ridiculous, and I was just looking at it like, he is the type of player, and I think Jaden had a really good stat about this, that even though he's starting like as a forward or even on the wing, I think I saw a little bit. He has one of the best. I think it's only behind Dawson and Laird as outside of the centre bounce, just around the ground stoppages as one of the best scorers. I think the Adelaide boys are the top 3 or something. And yeah, he's just ridiculous at it. So, and also you see him quite a lot is he leads up really well to the ball and gets that cheap mark and handball really well just by beating his man to that spot around 65 out from goal or so, where he can just pass it, handball it off to someone who's running past and they can go for a shot on goal. So I think that's really where he excels, and you can see that with his high, only five marks, and he doesn't take terribly many marks because he's not involved, because he's a forward, he's not involved sort of behind the ball. But then also he has a really good presence of mind tackling, and I think that's really been the one thing that's leapt for him in this run, as well as goal kicking here. He's kicked in this run of 5 games. He's now kicked 2 for 6 goals and 7 behind. So he's kicked 43 points worth, AFL Fantasy points worth in just the 5 weeks, which is almost 8 fantasy points itself in a game upwards. But he's 110.6. You almost need to have him at the moment, as he is that 6th, also best forward. And then off the bench, you've got, for me, you had obviously Campbell Chesser 61 was huge. Wilmot's another moneymaker here. As we look at Campbell Chesser, we'll just look at these guys. 23k for Campbell Chesser, Wilmot 35k, Johnson 50k, Sheldrick was 95k. Windhager himself was 38, and Noah Long also resurrected himself and got 17k gained, and then also George Wardlaw was 27k gained. So out of these 2 trades, Ashcroft 95 and Doherty 113, so a plus 18 there. And a Hayden Young for Himmelberg was a plus 11, and if you actually look at that, it was plus 58k, and that was so a plus 63k on my trades. So yeah, really good effort from me, I think there you can say. And that was really, really positive to see there. And yeah, so that's basically the video there. And you'll see, depending on how it goes, my other videos hopefully coming out in the future as I try and catch up. So if I switch back there we go. That's the video, and I'll see you guys in another one. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.